Welcome again, everyone. Welcome to those of you on Zoom and for those of you on YouTube Livestream. Now, we've been looking at the mindfulness of breathing, part of the 4 foundations of mindfulness. It's quite a big topic. As I said previously, then you shouldn't worry if you're not able to experience the things that are laid out in the text. For example, whether or not rapture and bliss arises through your mindfulness of breathing is uncertain. A lot of it depends on how you apply yourself, also the time you invest into your meditation. Of course, for some people, then they will experience results much quicker than others. And for some, there will be a lot of obstacles. That's natural. What you have to do is not meditate in order to achieve a result. Rather than doing that, then you should just meditate for the sake of meditation. Well, the Buddha taught us meditation should be joyful at the beginning, middle, and end. It should be a pleasant thing to do. And if you have senses of failure, if you're judging yourself, or if you're expecting results, then that itself is going to be an obstacle to the meditation. Really, meditation itself is nothing other than learning to let go. And of course, clinging to success and failure, your own worth, judging yourself, beating yourself up, is exactly the opposite. It's clinging itself. It's not letting go of clinging, it's increasing clinging. So we've been looking at these different types of mindfulness of breath, and associated with that, then there are ever refined levels of practice. As it says in the sutra, the Anapanasati Sutra, then if you do mindfulness of breath itself authentically, really well, then it includes everything else within the 4 foundations of mindfulness, right up until mindfulness of phenomena and the 4 Noble Truths, which is basically pretty much the threshold of what we call liberation itself, nirvana itself. So this one is breathing, being aware of the mental processes. Now, it's not as it immediately sounds. When we hear that, we kind of think what's being spoken about is observing the mind. For example, what many people think of as Mahamudra meditation, just observing whatever thought arises. There are 2 aspects to this. There's what we call nimitta, and there's kasiṇa. And nimitta means light, actually. It's kind of sign. In Tibetan, the word we use is like a sign. It's a sign of meditation evolving, or a sign of achieving absorption. And these kasiṇa are like forms. So there's light and form. And in the sutra, it talks about absorbing into light, and there's no experience of form. And that absorption into light becomes very stabilized. So for people with really good practice, then this lasts for days. So what are these signs? Well, they're spoken about slightly differently in Tibetan Buddhism than they are in the Theravada, but it's kind of the same thing. It's about experiencing these visual lights that arise in your mind, in your imagination. In Tibetan, we kind of talk about seeing fireflies, and then lights like blue light, and stars, and mirages. In the Pali, they talk about like observing a light, or seeing stars, but also a sensation of tingling in the body. And what this is as you observe your breath, so what you're doing is this normal sitting in meditation, being mindful of breath. That being mindful of the breath deepens your meditation. You become more inward turning and absorbed into samadhi, this term samadhi. And then if that's going well, if your absorption is going very deep, then you'll start to perceive images. And these are usually associated with light. So they're things like I say, like a white light, or this experience of stars, or maybe what we call a tingling sensation. In Tibetan, it's like a shimmering light. It's like a mirage. And then there are different stages of this. So there's parakama nimitta, and that is like a preparatory stage. So it's like a vague or an unstable appearance of some kind of light in the mind. And there's the ugaha nimitta, and that's when the sign is clear, and more still. And this emerges as your concentration deepens and deepens. And then eventually you have this kind of very, very stable sign or light that appears to mind. But, you know, people work at these things for years. And in the Theravedic temples, then sometimes they meditate up to 18 or 20 hours a day, especially during a retreat period. So they're investing a huge amount of time into that. And so whether you have this kind of bright, shining white light, or star, or sparkling sensation, or physical sensation like tingling, or maybe it's kind of like energy, you know, when you have like magnetic energy, buzzing, sometimes you feel that on electronic devices, something like that in the body, or not, doesn't matter. What you're doing is you're focusing mindfully on the breath and using that to deepen this kind of absorbed state of meditation. So remember, the mind remains sensitive, but the body and the mind become very relaxed, and then you turn inwards. So what's the other thing? Remember, there's this kasiṇa as well. So there's nimitta, which is like lights, signs, and there's a kasiṇa, which is form. Well, it's described as some visually appearing external form, and in the preparatory stages, then they will actually use something like a disc, a blue-colored disc or something like that, and use that as a focal object. That's kind of the beginner's way of doing it. We've done this kind of meditation ourselves before, right? We use a stone as a focal object, or it could be the blue of the sky, this kind of thing. So it's not an internal light, it's a physically perceived form on the outside. And again, there are stages with this. You will be aware of let's say, the color of the wall in front of you. But then when your meditation deepens and you become deeply absorbed, that becomes a non-conceptual experience. It's like you completely become absorbed into the experience of this external form. And these are described differently. Sometimes it's described as a kind of infinite or pervasive experience, like infinite expansive experience of blue, the color of blue, etc. So either of these, whether it's the internal mental sensation of images or sparkling, etc., tingling in the body, or whether you have a wall in front of you and it has, let's say, the color of the wall, and then you become absorbed into that. The point is that the mind becomes very stable and deeply absorbed into experience, whether that's an internal appearance of light or external awareness of a form on the outside. And again, if you don't feel like it's happening, don't let that get you down. That's not going to help your meditation. The process of meditation itself is what's going to lead to results. So as usual, what we're going to do is we're going to say some aspiration prayers, reminding ourselves why we're practicing, not just for our own benefit, so that we can benefit others. And then we'll do some meditation. Oh, glorious, precious root Lama, above my head on a lotus moon seat, you care for me with great kindness. Please bestow the cities of body, speech, and mind to the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Sangha. Until enlightened I go for refuge. May I, by the virtue of meditation, become awakened to benefit beings to the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Sangha. Until enlightened I go for refuge. May I, by the virtue of meditation, become awakened to benefit beings to the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Sangha. Until enlightened I go for refuge. May I, by the virtue of meditation, become awakened to benefit beings where the supreme and precious awakening mind has not arisen, may it arise. And once it's arisen, may it not diminish, forever continue to flourish and thrive. I prostrate, make offerings, and confess, rejoice, request, and supplicate. Whatever slight merit I gather here, to Buddhahood I dedicate. So begin by centering yourself on the breath. Take a deep inhalation and exhalation. So throughout this practice, you're merely going to remain aware of the breath. And as that awareness becomes more one-pointed, then the mind will become more internally absorbed. And through that, then you may have experiences of rapture, bliss, and eventually Also, these sensations or experiences of internal brilliance or absorption into external form. Mindfully breathing, merely aware of the inhalations and exhalations. Do not attempt to control the breath. Do not focus or tighten the mind. Remain relaxed, inhaling and exhaling. At first, the breath may be heavy or coarse. As you passively observe, The mind enters deeper into absorption, body becoming relaxed, breath almost imperceptible. If thoughts arise, do not push them away or chase after them. If you lose the breath, do not grasp after it. Merely relax in the sensitivity of awareness. If rapture arises, it's nothing special. Don't cling to it. Merely remain present. If rapture does not arise, that's okay. It is nothing special. Don't chase after it. experiences of rapture or bliss or lights and signs arise, don't cling after them. If experiences do not arise, don't go looking for them. Meditation is merely remaining present, mindful of the inhalations and exhalations. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. By this merit may I obtain omniscience, defeat the enemy wrongdoing, and so free all beings from the ocean of existence with its stormy waves of birth, aging, sickness, and death. Precious mind of awakening, may it arise in those who are without it, and never fade from those who hold it, but continually grow from strength to strength. May the glorious Lama's lotus feet be firm. May bliss and joy fill the breaches of space, as we gather the accumulations and purify obscurations. May I and all without exception be swiftly brought to Buddhahood. So do your best to practice in your own time in the week. If you want these experiences, or you want experience in meditation, shall I say, then you need to invest time into that, and it needs to become kind of second nature, habituated deeply in your being. So apply yourself as best you can to your meditation, and also always check your motivation and why you're practicing. Very important. So until next time, and see you later.